Vanessa Warwick here on behalf of Safe Agent on location at the ALA conference in London, and I'm delighted to be joined by the Property Ombudsman, Christopher Hamer. So welcome, Christopher. First of all, just give us the remit of the Property Ombudsman.
My role is to provide an independent facility for the resolution of disputes between tenants or landlords and agents, not between tenants and landlords, but where they're transacting business with an agent. And what I will do is consider the dispute after it's been considered by the agent themselves and make a finding on the basis of legal principles, what's fair and reasonable in the circumstances, and I can make an award of up to £25,000 for compensation, not a fine, but compensation for aggravation, distress or inconvenience caused by the actions of the agent.
I see. So obviously there is an issue, and perhaps an increasing issue, with unregulated agents. Could you talk a little bit about your knowledge of what's going on with that?
Yes, there are about, to our estimate, 40% of agents operating in the UK who are not affiliated to either the Property Ombudsman scheme, to ALA, to NALS or to RICS, which means that they're effectively operating outside a regulated environment. They're not adhering to any standards of operation, to any codes of conduct, and whilst many of them presumably might be perfectly safe to operate that way, you have to question why they're not choosing to be subject to a set of rules.
And it is an increasing problem, because we've just heard this week that another company, the Property Showroom in Leeds, has disappeared, shut its doors and disappeared with a lot of money. So I can see that in these kind of challenging economic times it's going to be a growing problem, and that landlords and tenants should be demanding agents that have some sort of stamp or badge of approval.
Yes, I think that's important, and there's an issue here about consumer education, in that landlords or tenants need to identify an agent, be able to instantly identify an agent who's operating according to a set of rules, according to a code of practice, has this important client money protection in place. So it needs a very simple symbol to direct people into an agent who has operating in accordance with a set of standards.
Because of course the client money's protection is a key thing, that should an agent go bust, then the tenant's deposit and also the landlord's rents are protected through that scheme.
Indeed, it's a very important aspect of business, because if an agent goes bankrupt, or indeed simply disappears with the money for whatever purpose, landlords or tenants could be left with a significant bill. And I read in a recent report by Professor Michael Ball of Reading University that there's something like £6 to £10 billion worth of rent being collected every year. So the risk for consumers, landlords or tenants, is very great.
So obviously you welcome an initiative like Safe Agent.
Indeed, and I've said before that anything that attracts the consumer into a safe environment, into an environment where the agent is operating in accordance with a set of standards, has full consumer protection facilities in place, must be a good thing.
Well, thank you very much for talking to us. It's a pleasure to meet you. That's the Property Ombudsman, Christopher Hamer, here at the ALA conference in London.